Okay, perfect. Okay, let's get started then. So first of all, thank you very much to the people of BeCommerce of giving us the opportunity of giving this presentation, and thank you for assisting to the presentation. Let me introduce myself. My name is Johan Boeckstijns. I work as a business developer for Bancontact Payconiq company, and I will be giving this presentation together with my colleague Alfredo, which I will give the opportunity now to present himself. Alfredo, go ahead.
Thank you, Johan. So my name is Alfredo Prieto, working as well as Johan mentioned for Bancontact Payconiq company since 2017, and mainly looking after the acceptance side. So we will do this presentation together. So please, Johan.
Yep. Okay, perfect. So the topic of today, we will be talking about electronic payments, more specifically about the complete product portfolio of electronic payments of Bancontact Pay company. To prove to you that we basically cater for all the needs of the merchants and the consumers in this country. So without further ado, let's have a look at the agenda for today. So my part, first of all, will cover the payments and the situation as it is today and the evolution of the current market. In the second part, Alfredo will take over and will touch the situation of the portfolio that we are offering today to cater the need of the Belgian market. In the third part, Alfredo will speak about future challenges, and last but not least, we will end with a Q&A. Just checking, everybody can still see my screen and the slides?
Yes.
Perfect. So the first part, payments today, evolution of the market. Let me just start with introducing our company. Bancontact Payconiq company is a legal entity which was actually founded in June 2018 as a result of a merger between two existing companies, namely Bancontact company and Payconiq Belgium. So these were two separate companies, but actually we had the same shareholders, namely the bigger Belgian banks, such as ING, AXA, KBC, BNP, and so forth. So we created this new entity, and the result of the merger was that we still have, for the merchant side, we still have Bancontact and Payconiq as two separate payment brands. But at the consumer side, we now have one unified app, which is called Payconiq by Bancontact, and which basically allows the consumers to do payments both in locations where Bancontact is accepted and or Payconiq, both in-store and online. So one unified app for the consumer, but two separate brands for the merchant. So now let's have a look at some interesting figures. Now all these figures that you see here are actually from January until September this year, so quite recent figures. And what you can see first of all is that nearly 53% of all Bancontact payments that have been done in this period were done in a contactless fashion. And of course, this is also mainly due to the COVID situation, where people realized that hygiene became very, very important, more important than before, unfortunately, and that they used the contactless function a lot more than they used to do. Now, second, very important for you in the online business is that we saw in this period nearly 190 million transactions that have been done in web shops, either with Bancontact or Payconiq, which is an increase of 67% compared to 2020. Now, globally in this country, 17 million Bancontact cards have been issued, which is of course a lot more than there are Belgian inhabitants. And we count 1.8 million people who use their Payconiq by Bancontact app in an active way. And then last but not least, in the same period, we saw 143 million mobile transactions, so transactions done with a mobile phone. But this, of course, this figure is for both Bancontact and Payconiq, and both in-store and online. So it is actually very striking to see how the Belgian population changed their behavior in 2020, because these figures are from 2020. So if we look just globally at the total number of transactions, both in-store and online, we saw a decrease of nearly 34% of cash withdrawals. So people didn't go to the ATM anymore to get cash money, which is logical because of the lockdown, but instead we could see a compensation of the use of electronic payments. So globally, we saw an increase of 10% in 2020 compared to 2019. But more important, online, again, your business online, we saw an increase of 62% of online payments compared to the year before. Now, very important, globally of this, but this is a figure I already mentioned before, of this 10% or increase in mobile payments globally, of electronic payments, sorry, we saw 53% of them. So half of them became contactless. But this is a lot more important to you, of the 62% increase in online payments. And I think the figure already went up from 57 to 80%, Alfredo, something like that. So today, nearly 8 out of 10 payments which are being done on a web shop or mobile. So this is a very important trend. People just don't use their cards and their DigiPass anymore. It is too much of a hassle. It is very bad for the conversion. So if there is one point to remember from this slide, is that if you operate a web shop, you really absolutely do need to offer a mobile payment solution. Then already I mentioned, so 143 million mobile payments, which means that 1 out of 2 Belgians made a mobile payment this year. Now, he did not only make it with the Payconiq by Bancontact app, but also with his banking app, because it's very important to know that either the Bancontact or the Payconiq functionality have also been integrated in the different apps offered by the banks. Now, I'm not going to go too much into detail here, which function has been integrated by which bank. But do know that the banking apps also allow to make either Bancontact or Payconiq mobile payments, which increases, of course, the reach of the solution. Now, small gimmick I wanted to mention here. In our world, we don't speak about paying anymore. This is something of the past. Now we are beeping. And the word beeping, of course, is a nice marketing gimmick, but actually refers to the fantastic sound that your smartphone is making when you have done a successful payment using our app. So you will see the word beeping become more and more important. Also in the media instead of the word paying. Now the next slide basically speaks for itself. Here you see an evolution of mobile payments with Bancontact and Payconiq, both payment methods in this country. An evolution of the last 3 years, starting on January 2019, all the way up to August and 2021. So what we can see is the number of mobile payments nearly tripled or more than tripled over the last 3 years. Something I forgot to mention, and I just recall it, is quite important also, is that the federal government has voted a new law, and this new law will make it mandatory for merchants to offer at least one electronic payment next to cash. So again, will be a game changer. It does not necessarily have to be, of course, in the in-store world, it does not necessarily have to be Bancontact on a terminal. It can also be Payconiq. The merchant will have the choice. We have both products, but at least he will need to offer one of them. So quite important to know. Then how do our users feel about the app? So we did a survey, and the results of the survey were the following ones. 87% actually would like to see more places, both in store and online, where they can use their app. 84% of the app users say this our app fully meets their expectations. And all these figures are quite close. 83% of them saying they will use it more in the future, so if they have the opportunity to use it. And also these figures reflect in the App Store scoring rates. where we can see 4.6 out of 5 for Android and 4.8 out of 5 for people using iOS. Now, how can you get Bancontact if you are a merchant? Well, Bancontact or Payconiq, sorry, both payment methods are being offered by a network of distributors or partners. These partners, they can be payment providers, they can be integrators, they can be banks, they can be a lot of things. But most important to understand is that thanks to our big network of partners, today 45,000 merchants have accepted a Payconiq payment, both in-store and online, already this year. And 78,000 online, now this is only online merchants have accepted a Bancontact mobile payment in this year using our app. So quite interesting figures, and all thanks to a very, very big, large network of distributors and partners. This will conclude, I think, my part of the presentation, and I will let the floor to Alfredo.
Voila. Thank you, Johan. I believe I took control already of the presentation.
Yes, you did.
So in this part of the presentation, what we want to see is how payment solutions such as us are answering the evolving needs of the Belgians, and the Belgian citizens, because the world is changing around us. COVID, I love this expression. COVID has put the payment industry on steroids. And we saw last year how online business, they were booming, and new use cases, user experience were appearing. So for us, while we are always listening to the consumers, merchants, and our partners, this last year, we were even more attentive to match all those needs in the market. We do already have an extensive line of products. I'll cover them very, very rapidly because we think that we are in a very good position with our duo or our combo of Bancontact card and Payconiq by Bancontact app to answer most of the consumer and merchant needs through our partners. We have, of course, a facility for consumers to pay among themselves on a P2P transaction, whether it is scanning a QR code or sending money via a contact list in your telephone. Obviously, that's the reason we are here. We have online solutions, whether it's a card payment, scan a QR code, in-app payments, or recurring one-click transactions to have the most invisible payment possible. We do have the traditional in-store, contactless, scanning a QR code as well near to the cash register, a QR code on a screen, a consumer-facing screen, or you can browse through your telephone and see a list of merchants. And then if you see a merchant that is nearby, you can actually trigger a payment through the app. And of course, we have other different ways of helping by putting QR codes in invoices, whether it's digital or on paper, or a Payconiq top-up. Those are just few, maybe the big lines of products. I will go a little bit more explaining some with use cases that we, together with our partners, have used to solve some needs in the Belgian market. Online, of course, is one of the biggest growth last year, thanks to COVID, because we were all locked at home and we still needed to buy some things. So online grew last year massively. Here is a little explanation on how we normally do an online transaction, which is really, really straightforward. When you are buying something online, you can do it via a QR code, of course, scanning a QR code in a web shop, or you can do an in-app transaction as well, app-to-app transaction. It's really, really frictionless. If within the audience you didn't try it, I would encourage you to download an app or a banking app and try these mobile transactions. Then last year, one of our big focus it was to habilitate invisible payments, one-click or recurrent payments. I know within the audience, some logos will be familiar to you, but this is a very, very big focus for us because the 3DS experience in Belgium is not ideal. Mobile is already doing a massive improvement, and we think that the Bancontact wallet-initiated payment is how we call this product for recurrent or one-click, is the next step, where you authenticate yourself with one SE at the beginning, and as from there, it's just one click or recurrent as you have agreed with the merchant. Here we have some merchants live like HelloFresh, Poppy, or Uber Eats, but there are invoices as well being paid with this product, and is quite successful among consumers. It was a very, very big focus last year and this year to improve in the mobility in Belgium. As company, we thought that we had the right products and we wanted to kind of help a little bit and we wanted to facilitate a greener way of moving. So we launched several different tracks to facilitate public transportation, car sharing, or, for example, the services of car rental per trip, like Poppy or Dodge, this type of companies. So we serve those companies, as we can see in the first bubble, with our wallet-initiated payments, but we did go to the extra mile, opening new mobility services within our app. So you can actually buy train tickets or bus tickets within our app. Another very, very interesting development, especially for people living in Brussels, is that you don't need to buy a ticket anymore. You don't need to print the paper. So with your contactless card, you just can go and validate yourself when you access to the metro or the tram, and your card becomes your ticket. At the end of the trip, at the end of the day, the system will calculate which most efficient ticket they need to charge you, and then they will debit your account at the end of the day. I think it's brilliant, and if you didn't try it, I will encourage you to try when you are visiting Brussels. In our green mentality, or improving as much as we can the planet carbon print, so we as well move a lot from paper to digital. So we are encouraging many companies to send their invoices digitally, and here is where we facilitated with two products the payment process. One of them is the already mentioned wallet-initiated payments, or for example, Luminous is a large electricity company in the country. They already are sending electronic invoices, and then you can pay with the wallet-initiated payment just one click. And as well, several other companies are putting in their digital ticket a QR code. Even some of them are actually printing it. So we're hoping that these that have printed it in the future will move into a more electronic invoice. Now, as well, currently we are confined-ish due to COVID, but when we are going out, the Eureka sector as well is moving into the payment revolution. Before we were seeing a lot of menus where they were not dirty, but of course with COVID, you didn't want to touch menus that have been touched by several people. So more and more we're seeing in the tables of the restaurants a QR code that you, with your telephone, you scan it, and then immediately you have the menu in your cell phone. And going to the extra mile, you facilitate not only the menu, but the payment through that QR code scanning. And of course, Payconiq has been an ally for these merchants, because it's everything in one flow. Scan the menu, select, order, and then pay. Then, of course, once paid, the bartender will bring what you have ordered to your table. Once you have paid, not only you could pay it with your mobile payment, but you can split the bill with your friends, so everyone regularize whatever they have ordered, all from your phone, all in one go. So I think this is quite revolutionary. We're seeing more and more apps popping up in the Eureka sector, becoming ordering tools and menu tools. Another revolution that has happened as of recently, and we see that this is an incredible race among terminal vendors, is the tap on the phone soft phone implementations. Of course, for many merchants, especially the small merchants, a device could be seen as expensive, I think there is always a product for all merchants, but they could have that perception. So many terminal providers or are developing or have developed that your terminal becomes point of sales. So there is an app in the Android market that the merchant downloads. Of course, they go through a registration process, and your telephone via the NFC communicator, they become a POS terminal. I think this is quite revolutionary, especially making echo of what Johan mentioned on the new law that will be in place in July 2022. All in-store merchants will need to offer an electronic payment. So this is becoming very, very easy to have a terminal in your store by just downloading an app. Of course, Payconiq could serve as well there with the QR code, but now a terminal, it couldn't be easier. This is only working on Android. As we all know, Apple at the moment has the NFC communicator blocked. Seems that there is something ongoing with the European Union that they may kindly ask them to unblock their NFC communicator. And that, I think that will be good for many markets, because then the pool of devices will increase. But already having it on Android is very, very, very good. This is another important revolution that we saw last year. Making note yet again on COVID, we saw that we didn't go to the supermarket as much as we went before. We were ordering and we were having the goods delivered to our place. So we work with several tier 1 supermarkets to have click and collect mechanisms, meaning at a fair transaction, like the typical transactions that we have for petrol. You block an amount when someone has ordered. Of course, the supermarket will prepare the goods. Maybe there is everything that you have ordered. Maybe there is something missing and they change the article. So the final amount is not known yet. When they deliver the goods and then you accept them, because you may reject something, the final amount is calculated and the block amount is lifted and the final amount is passed. It's a beautiful transaction. It's very invisible for the client, and it habilitates to order your goods to the supermarket very, very easily. And for the merchant, is no complexity on passing the transaction. And the last one that I will mention in the products that we have been working very, very hard this year is more on good causes and trying to give back to the society. If you are in LinkedIn these days, you will see some promotions on Pink Friday. So we are giving free mobile transactions for our Payconiq merchants via our Payconiq partners. So we want to give back, and we are trying to do as much as possible to put QR codes with good causes like Scan for a Change, where we have selected 10 very good causes and facilitated donations of €2 just simply scanning a QR code, and trying to put those QR codes in newspapers, in digital outlets, wherever we can, because with a QR code, it's so easy. And we don't want to be the barrier, the payment. We don't want to be that the payment is the barrier for people to actually donate. This is what we have been working, or what we have been doing with and for the Belgian market. But we're looking into future challenges as well, because payments is evolving very, very rapidly. And of course, we want to tackle them together with all of our partners. And the main things that we're looking into is to do payments as invisible as possible. And we all have seen the Amazon supermarket in North America, where you actually can do your shopping and then leave the store and everything is paid without you passing through the cashier. So we're working in this type of invisible experiences to facilitate both the merchant and the consumer life. But we're looking also into combine payments, different means, together with loyalty. So at the end of the day, what we want is that someone enters to a supermarket, leaves, not only they have paid maybe with the Sodexo card and with their Bancontact card, but that also their loyalty is all in one simple go integrated. So this is how we are seeing future, like seamless, secure, easy, and frictionless. And we're working very, very hard, as I always said, with both merchants and partners to make this a reality. And hopefully that this year, that is coming now, 2022, we'll see live some of these initiatives. So what I would say to all merchants, partners, and consumers is to work together to have a better marketplace, because we are all benefiting on having good payment products and good experiences. This is what I wanted to share, and Johan as well. So I don't know if someone of you actually here has a question that is relevant. Or of course, at the end of the presentation, there are all email addresses for whoever doesn't have them. We can be contact via email for any question. I think Juliet,
the hand going up. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, hello, everyone. I have one question, which is about the study that was presented in the first part, and especially page 7, when you showed us figures about the new payments. I'd like to know if you have the study, but per age or ranking per, younger and older customers.
We do indeed. So we didn't go that much in detail, but especially for mobile payments, we have not only per age, but per location. So
Okay.
if it's okay with you, because it's a big study that we have, it's a survey that we do every year, I can share some details with you. Feel free to contact me via email or Johan, and we will make sure that you get the part that we can share, no problem.
Okay.
Is there
your email address is at the end of the presentation?
On the last slide, both our addresses.
Perfect. Okay,
and if there is something in particular that you want to see as well, please tell us, so we will try to accommodate as much as possible.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Is there any other question? Very good. So then that was it from us. Happy to be here, as Johan said, on the BigCommerce platform. Our email is there. Any other question that you have later on, feel free to reach out. We're happy always to.
Maybe you can show the emails again a little bit longer.
I imagine the presentation will be shared, no, Peter Jan?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
I can also hand it over to you if you want.
Yeah, very good.
Okay,
super.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Alfredo and Johan.
You're very welcome.